Montag's salty today. He's salty today.
Salty. Yeah, someone's got to be.
Why are you so salty?
Yeah. You don't want to know. You don't know what pain is.
I probably don't.
Yeah, this was agony. I have to say,
I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys, what your takes are on these.
Yeah,
this was tough.
This was tough, and I've already got Slugfest 4,
was.
which I will announce when we get to the end.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yes, I think it'll be an interesting twist in the plot. No. All right, shall we do this, gentlemen?
Absolutely.
Sure.
All right.
Greetings from Tomaville. I'm Lloyd Kaufman, president of Tom Entertainment and creator of George Clooney. When I feel, I could watch something really profound, really amusing, educational, the Trauma team and I, we like to kick back and watch heavy metal horror podcasts because, when we're not making those movies like Romeo and Juliet and hashtag Shakespeare Shitstorm and Class of Nukem High, there's nothing else in the world for us except that heavy metal podcast. Say it with me. Heavy metal horror podcast. Thank you, Montag and Chop Chop.
I am Montag, master of illusion. What goes up must come down, but not always.
Hey, this is Chopped Up, and this is going to be an operation on a scene from a memory.
And Dreadbull.
And you were watching and listening to Heavy Metal. Kitties. Slugfest 3. Slugfest is back. That's right. You can hear the roar of the crowds, the smell of the crowds, the roar of the grease paint. Oh, tonight we've got 2 titans of Prague and 2 concept albums going at it. We've got Queensryche, Operation Mindcrime from 1988, and Dream Theater, Metropolis Part 2, Scenes from Memory from 1999. This is going to be a fucking battle. Yeah. These albums are my favorite of these bands.
Yeah, seminal albums for both bands.
Yeah, and
Without
we know a thing
doubt.
or two about seminal after
We
last
do.
week's show with Annette. But right. So
Damn, I'm sorry I missed that one.
Yeah, you are. You should be.
Leave it to Montag to make it creepy.
Yeah. When do I not?
Never not.
Exactly. One thing when I was thinking about these records, I noticed there's a lot of similarity between the two. Not that just the concept albums, but some of the themes are similar. We have themes of forgotten memories, regression memories. We have past lives or remembering past events in the present. We have forbidden love. Triangles in both of these albums.
Never really made that connection, but yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I think it's fascinating that with these two this is going to be a brutal match. I can't wait to do our thing. So shall we go to round 1? We're going to have that awesome sound. Did you ever listen to our other Slugfests, Dreadbull?
Probably not.
You cunt. God damn it.
Why would I listen to it?
I got the awesome ding ding sounds, man. Those ring sounds.
Oh, I love. Yeah, I'm gonna.
Yeah, man,
I'm
they're
gonna
awesome.
tune in just for a ding sound.
That's right. You're gonna watch
and it sounds fantastic.
Thank you, Chop.
You're
allowed to stay.
welcome.
Oh, hush up, suck ass.
You're welcome, buddy.
Listen to him over there. Oh, I listened, Montag. Oh, it was great. Oh, I love the ding ding noises.
That's right. Who doesn't?
Do I get a star?
Everyone loves the ding ding. So round 1.
Oh shit!
It's gonna be so fucking awesome.
We've already drawn blood. We haven't even started.
That's right.
Ah, we're all at it today. We're all salty.
We're all salty.
Well, let's go now.
Watching the damn Browns, that made me salty.
Oh, did they lose again? Here's my surprise
Of course
face.
they lost again.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
God.
2 things they can't do. They can't hold a lead, and they can't come from behind. Where does that leave you? 2 and
Nope.
5.
That's right.
Right on.
Uh, yeah, they could have
don't
been
get
so
me
much.
started.
Yeah, well, that's a whole other Slugfest. That's Vent
Yeah,
Fest. Angry Old Man Vent Fest.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about my Browns pain.
Oh,
Vent
Lord.
Now, Dreadbull did a great job. I want to thank you for giving us these great scorecards where you kind
Oh,
of
thank
lined
you,
up the
sir.
songs, because we have
was
more
a little
songs
weird.
in Operation Mindcrime, but the way you broke them down was fantastic, and it also
Okay,
made it
cool.
really, really difficult. Like some of the matchups were like, gee,
Mhm.
fuck.
They're
So,
still, chronological, but
yeah,
the
no,
imbalance of in any concept albums, you have tracks that are just like spoken word or a little atmospheric or like an
Mhm.
intro to a proper track. So, yeah, I'm like, I gotta lay these out so they make sense, as
Yeah.
far as matchups
Right.
per round.
So
So,
I guess we have to look
Okay.
maybe
Yeah, great job,
what
Dread.
are the
Very good.
criteria? What are some of the criteria that we're looking for? I mean, because there are some songs where I like better than the other, but the other song is a better song, technically proficient, musical.
Mhm.
I mean, what are the criteria? Do we have to do? Should we agree on some kind of criteria? Because I've already made my picks, so I guess that's all that matters.
Yeah, me too. So I mean, I guess
Okay, I guess
at
we
this
kind of
point,
knew
it
I
might
had
be
to,
too late.
this was agony. I had to go for a gut. Like last night, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, and I woke up this morning. I'm like, okay,
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. When I was looking into it, there are songs. I think on each, but for the most part, Mindcrime has a lot of those intro, those little short snippet parts. Those I understand they're trying to embellish a story. They're trying to put it into the next level with the next song, but it's like there's some of that I could cut out and I'd be fine with mine. And I love Mindcrime, but there's some of it I could just go, let's go from that song to that song, and let's leave some of this. But we'll get to that later
Yes.
into our segment. But
all right.
yeah, that's one of the things I was because I've been listening to both all week and trying to distinguish. Okay, how am I going to gauge this? Is it all about? We know it's just two of the best concept albums of all time.
Agreed. Well, let's go to round one with the official bell ringing. Yeah. All right, track
Stupid
one.
ass bell.
We have Operation Mindcrime. We've got I Remember Now, Anarchy X, and Revolution Calling versus Scenes from Memory, Regression, Overture 1928, and Strange Deja Vu. We should have Chop Tom just do all of his things, and then I could just put them all in. At least we
No,
get
this
his
has
stuff.
to be a collective.
That's right. It's all.
discussion here.
That's right. Let's start with Chop.
Well, hold on. Let's go ahead and explain for people. Like,
Who
yeah, we
don't know the
talked about it
story.
a little bit, but like kind of breaking down how we had to finagle these tracks a little bit. So yeah, both albums had like a sort of an intro spoken track, a little bit of a overture, or a,
right,
and then the actual
like
proper song.
First song, right? So you put them
yeah.
together as a three group set, which I think is beautiful. How much?
So yeah, we'll explain that as we go. We had to finagle a little bit.
Yeah,
we can.
Do we
explain
assume that they
go along.
know the stories?
I don't know. Do we need to? Should we get into the stories? I know we covered it when we did our we did a Dream Theater thing where we did we do a Dream Theater deep
we haven't
dive?
done Dream Theater. We
I
haven't done a
remember
deep dive.
talking about.
We're still finishing the Rush.
I remember talking about.
Yeah, we have talked about Mindcrime a little
Scenes
bit
from memory. I remember talking about that story.
Yeah,
very
Pretty convoluted.
Okay,
but, anyway.
look, if you don't know the story, look it up.
Okay, it's been out for 35 years.
Yeah, you're bound to find it now. Okay, Chop Top. Let's begin. Or Dreadbull, you were saying something. We set it up. We're comparing the first three tracks. This is round one, and I do like that how they set it up with the back story, the little bit of a vocal, and then they both have these overtures. So let's start with Chop. Chop. Let's go with your round one. Let's let you start over. Or
all right.
I'm so flabbergasted. Not start over. Okay, Chop. Fucking Chop Top. Round one. You begin. See what you've done.
He really wants you to feel bad. You better feel bad.
I prefer the honestly, I'm gonna tell you right off, I prefer the three songs on Queensryche in the beginning as opposed to Dream Theaters. And I'll tell you why. I like the way how I Remember Now kind of gets everything in an atmospheric mood, everything going. And then Anarchy X kind of kicks in, and then you got the bombastic Revolution Calling just kicks from there. So I like that grouping right there. I'm not a big person on when we did our Slugfest on Born Again and all that, and we talked about, boy, that was a waste of 42 seconds or whatever. You know, just somebody falling asleep on an organ with a wind machine. But you know, so I remember that. But this fits perfectly. These first three, it's seamless, and it just seems very natural. Now, on the other side of that, you know, you have regression. You have it's regression, overture, strange deja vu. And what I like about overture, of course, is it's an overture. It's exactly what it says. Has little bits of snippets from each part of the songs throughout the whole album. And strange deja vu is just it's a jam too. This was very difficult, but my vote in this round will go with I Remember Now, Anarchy X, and Revolution Calling.
Okay, round one for Chop Top goes to Mindcrime.
Mindcrime. I'm
All
going
right.
to log that in.
Yes. There we go.
Chop Top.
Excellent.
Mindcrime,
Thank you.
round
Thank you
one.
for keeping the score there, Dread.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
All right, let's go. Let's turn to you, Dread. Round one. What is your discussion here?
Yeah,
I'm really interested. Sorry, Dread.
I agree with
interested in Dread's stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
agree
the dream
with you, Chop Top. I mean, for Revolution Calling, the intro, Anarchy X, just a great opening. And this might talk about this some more, but Operation Mindcrime has an energy throughout it that maintains, even, you know, there are ebbs and flows and tempo changes and things, but there's an energy to this album that just it maintains this certain energy throughout the entire album. And it really never lets you down. You never get bored, ever. I mean, there's not a boring minute in this album. You know, even when they're doing a little bit of story type stuff, or you know, the little bit of an intro to like Sweet Sister Mary we'll talk about later, and the sound effects and stuff, it's still okay because the album's so strong all around it that you can kind of weather those things, and it helps the immersion, I think, into the whole story. But yeah, Revolution Calling, great one. It sets up all the concepts, you know, government corruption, religious hypocrisy, untrustworthy media, greed in America, you name it. And it's as appropriate today as it was back in '88, 35 years ago. Think about that when this came out, 35 years ago.
Great point. Still sounds as fresh.
Yeah, this could have come out last week, and it would all work. Because, you know, hey, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Nothing's really changed in America, has it, in the last 35 years?
If anything, it's gotten worse.
These are all the things that people complain about today. So yeah, great opener, great song. And then Queensryche, Dream Theater. Yeah, the overture, awesome. Sets up all the musical pieces that you're gonna encounter throughout the album. Strange Deja Vu is a great song, one of my faves. It's one of the more like straightforward songs on this whole album, kind of a medium tempo, just got a nice hook, nice groove to it. It's not super complex. It's not real challenging to listen to, as often Dream Theater stuff can be. You know, even the tempo picks up about halfway through, but it's still it still maintains that nice groove to it. But it's still full of all the Dream Theater details that set them apart. You know, even if they make a radio friendly song, it's still full of like detail. That's kind of what drew me to Dream Theater in the first place back in the day. Like Pull Me Under, I'm like, okay, that's a cool song, got a really nice riff, a nice hook to it, but there's all these little details going on. Like, wow, this isn't normal. You know, this isn't the average metal band here. And yeah, so I love it. You know, Portnoy's drumming, all these little details these little intricate fills, no matter what the song is, they're always there. And they always catch your ear. It's always something to listen to. So yeah, this was a right off the bat agonizing choice. I think in the end, my general love for Dream Theater leans me towards Dream Theater here. Strange Deja Vu. I think overall the song is just slightly more interesting and has a little more replayability than Revolution Calling to me. So yeah, by a hair, I'm going to go with Strange Deja Vu on this one.
Okay, so round one for you goes to Scenes from Memory.
Scenes from Memory.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. Is, you know, Mindcrime has this big sound. It's full, it's rich, it's there's energy. The drums sound big and like a shotgun blast, that gated reverb on that snare. It just like pops, and everything sounds, there's a lot of sound. There's a wave of guitars, and it just layered of sound, which is different than Dream Theater. Dream Theater has that, everything is pristinely recorded, so nothing steps on top of one another. Like you can hear every little cymbal and tom on Portnoy's kit beautifully. It is an audio engineer's like wet dream. It's like, oh, I don't know who engineered this, who mic'd the drums, but fucking bravo. And I look at the two bands. We have Dream Theater, which is a Queensryche, which is a hard rock band that does prog, and then Dream Theater, which is a prog band that does hard rock. That's my
Good point.
that's how I kind of have
That's
to
a good
separate
point.
them in a little bit, because
Yeah.
they overlap, but they are vastly different animals. I mean, Dream Theater runs circles around pretty much everybody musically. I mean, they are just,
Yeah.
sometimes it's self-indulgent, but it's like, oh, these guys are fucking brilliant. So my emotion pulls me towards Revolution Calling, because you can hear that. I love hearing that bell, that ride cymbal. It's just powerful. It's big. The emotion's there. It's angry energy. But the musicianship pulls me towards Scenes from Memory, because there is that overture, which is gorgeous. I love that they can like say, hey, let's take these snippets after you record this album. Let's make an overture with these 5 themes in it. They did the same thing with an earlier album too, way back, like with their second or third album. What's the one with the seasons?
Change of Seasons.
Yeah, they do the same
Yeah.
thing where they like caught in the web, and these other ones that they hint earlier. You can
Well,
hear
that
like,
was that was from Awake. Caught in
Or
the Web.
Awake,
Change
yeah,
of
okay.
Seasons was an EP.
okay. Yeah,
Which is
yeah,
a brilliant fucking song.
yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
so emotionally, I'm pulled one way, but musically, I agree with you too there, Dread. There's more interest in like Queensryche's got the hooks, but Dream Theater is going to take me on to a more complex musical journey. And at the end of the day, I'm going to have to go with Scenes from a Memory for round 1 because of those things.
Okay.
So
All right.
Excellent. Interesting. So we've got a winner there.
right,
Yep.
round 1 goes to Scenes from Memory.
Scenes from a Memory.
All right.
Wow.
So we're getting ready for
Interesting.
round 2. Ding, ding. That's gonna sound awesome, man. Just listen to it, Dreadbull.
The
God damn you.
production values are off the charts.
I know, it's amazing. We're like, yeah, Dream
Are
Theater.
you season up or something? What the fuck's going on?
That's right. All right. Ding ding. Round 2. Okay, Chop, let's do it. We have Operation Mindcrime versus Through My Words and Fatal Tragedy. All right, Chop.
This one, yeah, as usual, this whole Slugfest can be difficult, but I love Operation Micro. I like the darkness of it, the darkness of the riff. It's kind of brooding and just kind of chugs kind of long and gets, there's a groove to it, certain thing. But then you look at the other side, Dream Theater, and Fatal Tragedy has been one of my all-time favorite Dream Theater songs since I can remember, since it came out. So I'm gonna have to, man. I'm gonna have to go with Dream Theater on that one.
All right.
Yeah,
I think just the Fatal Tragedy has been one of, it's just, man, like I go back to what Montag said. It's the musicianship that kind of pulls you. And here's another fine example of what expert musicians these guys are.
Yeah, Fatal Tragedy is just unbelievably complex.
Yes.
Yeah.
For a relatively short song,
So yeah, I have to go with Fatal Tragedy, or Through My Words and Fatal Tragedy. I have to go with Scenes on that one. So that's my vote.
Yeah, I mean, complex, like not like we'll get to the other song down the road, like Dance of Eternity, but complex and it's interesting. It keeps on changing.
Yeah.
All the time changes, tempo changes, instrumentality. It's just this ongoing, like, oh, we're not staying in this groove. We're gonna go here for a while. Oh, we're gonna come back to the groove. Oh, we're gonna go to a third groove. Okay, so all right, yeah. Okay, Dread, round 2 for you. Mindcrime versus Through My Words and Fatal Tragedy.
Mindcrime. Yeah, another great song. Love the groove in this song. I love the plodding bass throughout. Kind of keeps it all tied together. Dun, da, 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 and this whole track has a raw edge to it. It feels kind of raw. Tate singing, the great guitar solo in the middle, the tone on that guitar solo. yeah, there's just a rawness, a little bit of an edge to this song in particular, I think. Tate's high notes that he hits just elevate the song, so take this number, the high notes he hits. There's a nice build to the finale at the end of this song. So yeah, the whole thing really nice. That there's sort of that one guitar tone that slowly builds toward the end. Adds some nice tension at the end of that song. So yeah, great track. Through My Words, great little, beautiful little intro into Fatal Tragedy. It's probably this is a progressive track from Dream Theater here. There's a lot going on. There's a couple really nice transitions in this song that I think continue. It's almost 3 parts, and it can kind of continually builds. The song kind of slowly builds throughout until it breaks into one of Dream Theater's kind of signature instrumental madness sections, where they just go off and show off for a while, which they're prone to do.
Yes.
Yeah,
But if you got it, flaunt it,
Yeah. This section has their famous Portnoy called it their shrink and grow section. So they've got that little riff. So it starts with one of those, and then it goes all this, and then the next time it's 2 of those, then it goes, and then there's 3 of them. It builds to 4, and then back to 3, back to 2, back to 1. So that whole section is that.
Yeah.
Is that it builds to 4, and then that little riff, and then back down to 1.
Yeah. Can you imagine them in a session like recording that? Like, hey, let's make this more interesting. We're gonna repeat this 4 times, right? 8 times.
Right.
How about we just add 1,
right,
and just make it a little longer? Then we're gonna come back down.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. They're like, oh yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Yeah, why not?
Well, it's like Montag had said. It's like that song. You're expecting it's just you got one section, you got another section, but then you got this section, but then you're going back to this section. So it's really quite a phenomenal track. So
it is.
And that's something I have always loved with Dream Theater is they'll take these little, a riff or a chord, and they'll mess around with it, and they'll figure out how many different ways they can play it throughout a song to keep it interesting. There's, they'll probably their average song length is like 10 minutes, but it's never boring. Like Dream Theater, you will never get bored listening to them. A 10-minute song from most bands is going to be a repetitive, just monotonous pile of shit. But they're always doing something interesting with just even the bass riff that a song is built on. They're going to tweak it. They're going to find different approaches and keep it interesting. So and always push themselves and challenge themselves in their play.
Yeah, there's just so many flavors sprinkled throughout, and each instrumentation, guitar's got all these different parts, and you got bass has all these different parts, and the drums, of course, we know Portnoy and Mangini on top of it. So it's like everything is just, but it comes together so cohesively that it works. And obviously they're the most successful progressive metal band, I think, in history. So yeah, that's a testament to what fine musicians and writers that they truly are. So.
Yeah, so this is a comparison between a really great metal track and a really great progressive metal track.
Power, very catchy.
And so it's hard to choose. It's a little bit of apples to oranges. This is this one I agonized over for a while. I think in the end, I'm gonna once again lean towards Dream Theater. I just find the song interesting. It's always you could listen to it for years and pick up some little nuance that you never noticed before, and that's what I love about those guys. So yeah, I think I'll once again lean towards Dream Theater this round and give it to Fatal Tragedy.
Yes, well, 2-1. We know who's already run this round.
This is
but I'll just cast my vote in early for oranges as well. I'm going to go with Fatal Tragedy. Operation Mindcrime is a powerhouse of a song. Got great hooks. Jeff Tate's voice. I mean, everything we've already said. You can't you're not taking away from that track in any way, shape, or form. But because Fatal Tragedy is so engaging and pulls me in with the great solos in the middle of that song, that's where I lean as well. So round 2, it's a unanimous decision. Round 2 goes to Scenes from Memory. All right.
Wow.
Dream Theater off to a strong start.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so we got round 3, which is Speak and Spreading the Disease versus Beyond This Life. So round 3, Chop. I know you love it, Dread.
I do.
Let's start, Chop. Let's go with round 3. We got Speak and Spreading the Disease versus Beyond This Life.
Right. Well, with Speak and I actually prefer, I think, Spreading the Disease better than Speak, lyrically, musically. Speak is still a powerful song itself. But yeah, I'm gonna on this one, I'm just gonna give my vote right now. It's gonna go to Speak and Spreading the Disease over Beyond This Life. So I think Beyond This Life is one of the weaker tracks. You can't really say the whole both albums are brilliant, right? But for me, that's a weaker track for me on Scenes from a Memory. So yeah, Speak and Spreading the Disease. That's my vote.
All
Okay.
right. Okay, Dreadbull.
Yeah, Speak. Yeah, good song. Not one of my favorites on the album. I think the chorus is a little drags it down just a little bit. It kind of drags the energy of the song down a little. Spreading the Disease, great song. Love that song. Great chorus. And this album's full of them. Great. I mean, it's Jeff Tate, so you're going to get these great soaring vocal performances and these really awesome choruses.
And the original, the guitarist who can write great music, DeGarmo.
DeGarmo.
So yeah, right.
Miss that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, I talked about the energy of this album, and this is a good energetic song. And it just feels like every member of the band was on when they made this. Like every member of the band, it feels like is just giving their best performance of their life. Like everybody's just pouring everything into it, and you feel it. You can really. I'd love to talk to Jeff if we ever got the chance and ask him about what it was like in the studio making this. Was there a lot of energy in the studio? Did they know something special was going on?
Yeah, I'd love that.
Dread, you make a great point though. It's almost like there's a tipping point on Mindcrime when it hits that track, Spreading Disease. Everybody is, like you said, on point. It's more powerful. It's more direct. Everybody is just so precise on that. And what a fantastic song. It's one of my favorites on it as well. So you make a great point on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Beyond This Life. So huge, bombastic, 11 and a half minutes, very progressive Dream Theater track. It reminds me a little bit of the way Fatal Tragedy is structured without that slow melodic buildup. They just kind of drop straight into the action here. Ton going on. That takes you all over the place. This track is, it's a journey. Not one of my favorite tracks on the album. It has some great moments.
Right.
It's
I think a long song.
Yeah, I think the instrumental here goes off the tracks a little bit. I think this is one of the things that I know turns a lot of people off to Dream Theater is these instrumental sections that just go bonkers. And I think they were more prone early in their careers to kind of these instrumental sections almost felt a little shoehorned in. Like they didn't feel like part of the song. I think in more recent years, they've gone away from that a little bit. They still have the instrumentals, but they feel a little more cohesive to the song that they're in. And I think this is one of those early ones that just doesn't really feel cohesive with the song that it's placed in. So, and so it ends up feeling a little self-indulgent.
Which says a lot for a band like Dream Theater.
Yeah,
saying a lot.
Right.
So, so all that said, I think I agree with you, Chop. I think Speak the Word or Speak and Spreading the Disease is I think it's a stronger 8 minutes of metal versus Fatal Tragedy. So I'm giving this one also to Queensryche here.
All right, look at that. Well, we know who the winner is. I'm going to throw my cast in with both of you. That was my pick as well.
Okay.
For those reasons. Spreading the Disease is one of my favorite tracks. We introduced Sister Mary here. We got her backstory, and it's such a vile backstory.
Man.
It's such a hard listen. But the songs are so big and punchy and powerful. So this is where Queensryche playing to its strength, and that the bombastic nature of this album shines, in that it's just right in your face, and you can hear. But both of these songs are just powerful. And they spread nicely to from one to another. So, all right. So round
Yeah.
three, we have a Queensryche taking a comeback here in round three with a unanimous decision in round three
clean sweep.
for Operation Mindcrime. So, all right, we are going to round four, which is the mission and Through Her Eyes. So round four, Chop Top. Let's hear what you got to say. The mission versus Through Her Eyes.
Well, Through Her Eyes is that's actually quite a beautiful ballad,
Oh,
moving ballad
really
by
is.
Dream Theater. Really is. Gives me my hair stand up when I listen to that song. However, the mission, I like how it comes with a phone call and everything, or phone ringing or whatever. Or then you have the preacher, in the background, and and just kind of builds up to that, and how it just starts that slow kind of oh god, that melancholy kind of riff, and then when it kicks in, it just slams you, and it's just so driving and forceful. And Tate's on top of the world, vocal prowess at this point. It's just all together, singularly, that song. So, man, this is tough. Which one is tough for me, because I do love her,
A little different, two different, very different tracks,
right. Right.
different.
A chugging metal
man.
song or hard rock song versus a ballad.
But the thing is, they're very, very, very moving to me. Where I can feel certain feelings with the mission, and I can be, Through Her Eyes is just, it almost brings me to tears in some things. So, gosh, guys, I'm calling my first draw.
Oh, you always do that.
We have ourselves a draw.
Man, quit fucking us up, Chop Top.
Hey, there might be another one. So just stay tuned, motherfuckers. There might be another one on here.
Interesting.
It's your draws that fuck up everything. You coon shits.
Always.
Chop Top's always drawing, always messing up the Slugfest.
This was very difficult.
It is.
Honestly,
I can't fault you, man. Seriously, there were a couple of these. I'm like, no, I got to make a decision. It's too easy to call a draw on this. That's
I forced myself to make a decision on every track.
Yeah, some of us really put the effort in making a decision.
Well, I just stand up from the crowd, so I know.
Yeah, just sit back down. No one wants to see that.
I'm special, but
yeah.
Old milk toast over there.
Yeah, we're gonna put that in quotes. Special. All right. Well, Dreadbull. Since we have a draw, it's between you and me. So let's go. We have the mission and Through Her Eyes.
So the mission, one of my favorite tracks on the album. Like you said, Chop, emotional. I mean, Tate's sort of sultry vocals at the beginning of this are so damn good. And then when the tempo picks up, that driving beat, that driving tempo, it just kind of carries you along with it. You just can't help but groove. This song just grabs you and takes you with it. It's one of those tracks. And we mentioned DeGarmo. We should probably mention him more, because
the music is phenomenal.
Queensryche was never the same when he left. He is brilliant. His guitar work is brilliant. His solo in this song is brilliant. Yeah, everything he does is.
Chris DeGarmo, we want you on the show. We're inviting you, man. We love you.
That guy is a legend. His songwriting, his guitar work, everything is fantastic. So brilliant song. Through Her Eyes, another one of my favorite tracks off that album. The emotion of it is really, it's agonizing. You can hear.
you hear it in the guitar, that weepy.
It's palpable. It's
guitar,
palpable.
right?
You really feel it.
Yeah, Labree's vocals on this are great. He does a really good, like, that ballad, breathy sort of vocal performance. He's really good at that. And so this, the gospel background vocals are a great compliment to this song.
This was very interesting.
So this was a tough one. Again, I think if this would have been, so they did a live version of this song on Scenes from New York, their live album. And they did a kind of an extended version, and they had a gospel singer that came on and accompanied James, and they did the great solo and this big extended version. It's so damn good. If you haven't heard that version of Through Her Eyes, check it out. If it would have been that version, I would give this round to Dream Theater, because it just heightens everything. So that said, just strictly head-to-head studio versions. I think I'm going to give this one to Queensryche and the Mission. Yeah, just by the narrowest of margins. But if I have to make a decision, yeah, I'm going to give this to Queensryche.
Yeah, real slugfesters make decisions. Chop. No, I hear you, because I agree. The Through Her Eyes is a beautiful ballad. It is haunting and beautiful. Just that piano, and it's a beautiful song. And I'm not really a fan of ballads, but they know how to do them well.
They do.
But the Mission is also just as emotional. There's a pain to it, and an ache that you hear through the Tate's vocals and in the music. It just, it just pulls you in. So I'm going to go right there with you, Dread. My vote goes for Mindcrime for round 4. The Mission takes Through Her Eyes.
Well, so now we do have a winner this round.
Yeah, thankfully. So we have now. We have 2 rounds each.
Feeling
We got
the love.
Yes.
Feeling the love.
And
2
now the
for
match
Green-
is tied.
Yeah, up to 4 rounds. We right now have an even card. So I
mean,
know,
to
2
be
of each.
expected, I guess.
Right. Well,
These
we
are
have
titans.
9 tracks. So there's hope. There's going to be a winner one way or another. Let's Chop fucking gives us draws all the time. But speaking of round 5,
I'm going to stay silent on that one for a minute.
Right. Yeah, round 5. We have Sweet Sister Mary and Home. 2 powerhouse, fucking long tracks. This was a hard one. Okay, so Chop Top, round 5. You go. Don't give us our fucking draw.
You son of a bitch.
I don't want to make a decision.
In that direction. I was heading that direction, but I will tell you this. Home has got one of the most memorable and driving and punchy guitar riffs I've ever heard in history, in Dream Theater's history. I mean, it's such a classic, such an epic song.
That wow,
Everything
beginning,
about
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Amazing.
So when that kicks in, it's like, oh, but man, Sweet Sister Mary, atmospheric, dark, sets everything up. And there's so many different segments in that song. If you really break it down, you really slowly listen to it, how much is going on in there? There's so much activity throughout that. That's just like, this is the perfect storm. And then you have Pamela Moore, who does, she's Sweet Sister Mary, the vocals in that. And she absolutely kills it with Tate in that.
She's amazing.
I mean, this is possibly the most epic Queensryche song ever written in their history. I mean, this is just phenomenal from top to finish. So for me, I was going to call a draw, but I'm no longer, after I've been dissuaded by being called a fucking asshole by Montag. So no, I'm going to
That's
go
right.
with
You
Sweet
make a
Sister
decision, goddammit. Don't drag
I'm going to go
feet.
with Sweet Sister Mary. I made a decision.
There you go.
He's a big boy now.
That's right. I made a decision. Where's my pull-ups and my juice box?
There we go. Double bird.
There we go. Now they all chopped up.
One for each of you. Where each of you motherfuckers? I got you right there.
That's right. We're all going to be in the same old age home. Like, did you find my shit? I can't find it.
I thought it was my turn for the sponge bath. Yeah.
Where'd my socks go?
Will you help me with my sack?
I got your sock, but you don't know where. You don't want to know where I'm wearing it. Yeah.
Who took my sack?
That's right. I'm only down to 1. I'm only allowed 1 clean sock a week.
All 3 of us in the home. Oh,
that's right. Oh my God, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. Oh fuck, we'll be 90 years old.
Okay.
Heavy metal, heavy.
Pass the oatmeal. No.
That's right. Okay, Dreadbull.
All right. Everything Chop said. Everything Chop said. Sweet Sister Mary, best song on the album. This is Queensryche's 10+ minute epic piece. Everything about this song is just like greatness. The story, the atmosphere, the tension, the emotion. You mentioned Pamela Moore. My God, her voice, like it embodies it's powerful, but the tragedy of her story is in her voice. There's that emotional pain comes through in her singing. It's brilliant. So everything about it is great. There's no downside whatsoever. This song I could listen to it a million, probably have listened to it a million times, and it never gets old. You never get tired of it. Yeah. So all that said, Home, the single greatest groove Dream Theater have ever written. I mean, this song, that build, and you mentioned that,
Oh my
wow,
God.
and then,
Yeah. The instrument does sound like
that
a
super
sitar or
heavy,
something, that very Middle
yeah, a
Eastern.
little sitar mixed in there.
Yeah.
Like, where the hell is that coming from?
Yeah.
And then that groove that it breaks into this is where Stank Face gets created. This is Stank Face. You can't stank it up.
Progressive stank
If you're
face.
not, if you're not stanky, you're not listening to this one.
PSF. I got PSF.
So, my complaint: they lose it. They lose the groove. They indulge
You're right.
themselves again halfway through this
when they
song,
when they switch tempo,
and they go into this
it goes
instrumental
faster.
craziness.
I
Yeah,
see. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
like they get
Agreed.
faster, but still kind of hold on to the groove for a while, and then there's
Yeah.
a certain point where it goes off the rails again. Like, I want more groove. Just go back to the damn groove. Stop it. Stop with the crazy instrumental shit. Give me the damn groove. Go back to it and end the song.
Sure, I think that's what it goes into. And a lot of people who criticize Dream Theater is,
Yes.
man, you got a great riff that's going and everything, and then when they go off the rails and all this different stuff, it's like then trying to bring it back together. It's like, well, it's too late. You just blew your wad. Everybody's waiting for it. Everybody's jamming along, and then you went in all these different tangents, and it's like you can love it, you appreciate the journey, but it's like, we know you're master musicians, okay?
Sure,
But
everybody knows
keep
it.
with the main groove to keep everything flowing.
And when you have a groove, the power of that groove, don't mess with it.
Don't throw it away.
Just work around that groove. But keep it in there.
Yep.
Don't stray away from the groove.
Which they are masters of doing. They can do that at will.
But that groove's too powerful to touch.
Oh,
Don't mess with that groove, and they messed with the groove, man.
Okay.
So as powerful, as great as that groove is, if I could just edit my own version of that, I would get rid of some of the craziness. They do a little bit of it, like they stray a little bit, but the groove is still there. You can still feel it. And then it falls off the rails. And then they do come back to the groove right at the end of the song, but it's too late. It's already too late by then. You've lost the listener.
You already lost us.
So that's always been my biggest complaint with that song. It's one of the best, it's the best groove they've ever written, but they mess it up. So all that said, I got to give it to Sweet Sister Mary because they don't lose the groove. They keep that song is phenomenal throughout.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we know who the round's going to because it's a two, regardless of what I vote. I agree with both of you. Sweet Sister Mary is my favorite track on that. Maybe one of my favorite Queensryche songs of all time. The emotion comes out of that song with Pamela Moore and the lyrics. He was it like what the lyrics about he fed from my barrel of death. He fed and turned the holy water red, and just like
powerful imagery.
It is, it is. It's like poetry. It's beautiful, and the haunting beginning, especially when he sings like midnight. It's just those drums and the guitars are quiet. The drums sound like they're echoing all throughout the church they're in. That's what I imagine.
I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it again,
I know.
dude. I mean,
really, my
really
hair's standing up on my head.
A visual song when you really
I love the track. I love the track. Now, Home, the musician in me, just Boner City. I listen to this.
Really,
and I don't mind that it goes off the rails because that's where it becomes like, oh fuck, is this? Oh my, where the fuck are you going? With this? And I was just like, I'm happy to go on that crazy journey.
Okay.
I do love that sitar, the build up, and the drums are crisp, and then that heavy boom, wow, down. It's like, oh fuck. Then that dun dun, dun dun. Then if you notice the subtle hi hat.
Yes,
from Metropolis, the first
fantastic.
Metropolis song.
Yes,
from the first Metropolis, like, oh fuck, that's the riff he did in Metropolis.
Exactly.
See, that's fucking genius. These guys are just fucking genius. So I can safely give the round to Scenes from a Memory because of that, because Queensryche's already won, and I'm happy with that. But I will go with Home. My votes for Home because of the music, but emotionally, I'm all for Sweet Sister Mary. I love that song. I mean, I just love it. And the voices together, like when I saw them on the Empire tour, when they did that song, they had her on the screen. Like he was like singing to her performance. Like she was.
Yeah, it was like back and forth. I remember.
Yeah, that was like, it was like, oh my God, it was just beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think the last time they went out, I think she actually was on tour with them. She actually sang.
I believe so.
So that
That's
That'd have been
great.
awesome too. But so I'll go, and I can safely go with Home here because it's not going to win. But I praise the
Interesting.
virtuosity here
Okay.
because it for me it doesn't
Yeah.
lose it. It for me
Okay.
it's like every bit as thrilling and as exciting. And then to come back to the end of that group, it's like, okay, now we're back home.
Mhm.
Literally and
Right,
metaphysically.
right.
So okay, well,
Nice.
hey,
Okay,
through
cool.
round 5, Queensryche, Operation Mindcrime is up 3 rounds to 2.
Yes.
So now we're
Queensryche
heading into
takes the
round
lead.
6, which is The Needle Lies and Dance of Eternity. Two
Oh,
very different,
very different,
tracks
yeah.
here. So,
Very different.
okay, round 6, Chop Top, round 6, Needle Lies and Dance of Eternity.
Wow. Dance of Eternity is just, I think, epic in so many ways. The musicianship throughout there, and what Dream Theater is capable of in interweaving, different things together with all the instruments and stuff. But is there's just a mood to that is really, what's the word I'm looking for? It's just a very emotional track, very emotional. And Needle Lies, upbeat banger, up tempo thing. But yet, when I look at the other tracks on Mindcrime, that's not, it's still a great song, but it's like, okay, am I going to pick Needle Lies over, Eyes of a Stranger or something? Like, no, or Sweet Sister Mary, of course not. So for me, it's like one of the weaker tracks. It's still a banger. It's still cool. Band's on fire. Sounds great. It's tight. But man, I look at Dance of Eternity, and then, like you said, Montag, the musicianship, the musician part of you, it kind of leans towards that, and the layers and textures in that song. I'm going to go with Dance of Eternity on this one.
All right. Okay, interesting pick. Okay, good, Chop.
All right.
Dreadbull,
Interesting,
your take on round 6 here, Needle Lies and Dance of Eternity?
Yeah. So yeah, another great up-tempo song, The Needle Lies. It maintains that Mindcrime energy. It's a very energetic song. I guess it doesn't really distinguish itself a whole lot, but it's more of the same, which is a compliment. There's no weak tracks on this album. It's
True.
great from
True.
start to finish. So it maintains the excellence, that's already there. Yeah, Dance of Eternity. This song's interesting. I'm generally not a huge fan of instrumentals. I tend to like ones that are either that are more atmospheric in nature than technical, but this one's so good. It's kind of become like known for its technical insanity. Like I see drummers on YouTube covering this song in particular, or
luck.
guitarists.
Yeah.
And it's because it's so technical and challenging. And so yeah, this is a tough decision because it's so apples to oranges. I don't know how to pick a winner here. I would say maybe Needle Eyes is more enjoyable because I can just listen to it no matter what mood I'm in. I think Dance of Eternity, you kind of have to be in a certain mood to want to invest yourself in the technicality that's going on there. So I guess, yeah, I think I'm going to give it to Needle Eyes here because I can listen to that in whatever mood I'm in. Dance of Eternity, maybe not always in the mood to hear that and get invested in that.
As a general rule, I think Queensryche is a little more accessible no matter where you're at, whereas Dream Theater, you really need to be in the mood for Dream Theater. It's not passive music. You got to be paying attention to Dream Theater. For me anyway. That's just like
point,
I can't just put it on like in the background, like because I'll get sucked in.
That's true.
to the music. I'm like, oh, it's not background. Yeah, I agree with both of you. I agree with you, Chop, that the Needle Lies of all the tracks is probably on the bottom half for me because it's almost too much the same. There's not enough variation. It's a straight riff. It's a straight ripper. Yeah. It kind of stays in its lane, doesn't do much. Great song again, and it pushes the story along. Okay, in every concept album, you got to progress the story, the plot. Dance of Eternity there's that scene that where they bring in that ragtime piano, you can kind of hear them introduce it like right before, like the stanzas before, you can hear them playing just those like the chord progressions, dun, dun, right before they introduce it. Then they break up like ragtime, like what the fuck?
But it's
But
within the story.
Yes, exactly, because we're in 1928.
Right.
It fits.
1928,
Yeah, but then right after we get into this like heavy double bass,
Mhm.
I'm like, and in the end, it just goes all over. Then you hear Portnoy with those little chips, So Dance Fraternity wins it for me.
Okay,
Because of
excellent.
just the musicality and just the out excitement of the track. It where it goes, the journey it takes you on is just not predictable. It's like, who would have thought
It's
you're going to
really a
have hear
different kind of
ragtime?
instrumental than what you're used to. It's a different kind of instrumental than what we're used to hearing.
True.
And I think it's fantastic. It's just a great track. It's one of the standouts to me on this album. Or of an exceptional album, just like Sweet Sister Mary. This is one of those songs. It's like, yeah, okay, home, Dance Fraternity, have them back to back. It's just like, okay, there's 18, 20 minutes of music. I'm just gonna sit back and like, okay,
Right.
I don't know.
Cool.
So
I'm
totally
actually glad you guys both chose Dance of Eternity because I felt a little bad taking Needle Eyes. It was such a hard decision. So I'm glad Dance of Eternity won this round.
Okay.
Actually,
You're like Dream Theater's #1 fucking fan, so I'm like sitting there going, "Why did Dread pick that?"
Yeah.
I know. Like maybe I'm trying to force
I'm a
myself
huge
to
fan
pick
too, Dread, but
What?
to not be so.
It's
Dream
hard.
Theater
It's
centric,
hard.
you know?
It is apples and oranges in a lot of ways. I mean, emotionally, it's hard not to like that groove that Queensryche gets, and it's hard to. We know the power of that album. It's just a different power, energy, versus it's an angry, big, rough power versus this clean, precise, focused energy. They're just vastly different albums.
you know
But
what is so difficult about, and this was a great challenge for us in the Slugfest, but they're just both superb concept albums.
yes,
And that's it.
right.
So
From two bands at
whoever
the top of
wins
their
at
game.
the end of the day today, it doesn't matter. There's no loser in this one.
Right,
I mean,
That's
right.
true.
There isn't. There isn't. All right. So that was round 6. So now we head into round 7. So right now we have what is it? What's the score?
3
Dred?
each.
3 each. Oof.
3 each.
With
One,
3
two,
tracks
three.
to go.
1, 2, yeah.
Oh man. Those
3 each.
are going back and forth. The
holy
Slugfest
cow,
punches are flying.
back and
Round
forth.
7, we have Electric Requiem and Breaking the Silence versus One Last Time. So round 7. All right, Chop. Let's bring it. Electric Requiem and Breaking the Silence versus One Last Time.
Okay. I'm gonna go with well, let me just say that Electric Requiem, that's one of those bits that I was gonna get to later in the show that I'm thinking, this is unnecessary. I don't need that. It's almost like a little bit of filler for me. Breaking the Silence, great groove, great driving, almost like a standard, almost kind of metal hard rock song. I mean, you look at it, it's got a like I said, the groove is fantastic.
Not
vocally-
filler like we had the Black Sabbath Seventh Star, not those kinds of
Exactly,
fillers.
not like that.
Yeah,
No,
not
no,
like
no,
that.
Not no wind machine in the organ. No.
Right.
The other, but damn, One Last Time, man, that chorus on that song.
Mhm.
That's when it gives me goosebumps too off that album. Man, do they sound good. Labrie sounds fantastic on the track, especially. I mean, and we'll get to later tracks that I think even sounds even more powerful. But that one in particular, just that's a mover for me. That hits an emotional chord for me. So more so than Breaking the Silence. I mean, I could jam to Breaking the Silence, go in the car, cranked up to fucking 25 or whatever. But One Last Time has that emotional component that I attach myself more to when I hear that. So my vote will go to One Last Time.
All right. Okay.
Let me log that in one last time for Chop.
All right. Well, Dread, what about you? What is your
Okay.
take?
Yeah, Breaking the Silence. Electric Requiem, I agree with you. Didn't really need to be there.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and skip past it. Jump right into Breaking the Silence because it's a fantastic song. I'm at this point when kind of writing up my thoughts on this, I'm like, I realize I'm just repeating myself as far as superlatives. Like this album's all this stuff is so damn good. Like what else do I say? It's great. It's good. It's awesome. But this is songs right at home with all the rest of them. Breaking the Silence. It's incredible. It's like Queensryche found a magical formula on this album, and they wrote it for all it was worth. You know, they stuck with it. They stuck with the magic formula. And they did it without sounding repetitive. You know, none of this album feels repetitive, but it's just that all equally top-notch stuff. Yeah, all the energies here, the driving beat, the vocals, guitar work. We haven't mentioned like Rockenfield or Eddie Jackson. His bass is fantastic throughout this album and really prominent. It sounds
the
great.
rhythm section on this album. Yeah.
Yeah, Rockenfeld's a hard-hitting drummer, and there's a lot going on in this record, you know. And the drums sound big, and they're just huge.
They do.
Drums.
It's bombastic.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Every instrument sounds big and up front. Like they managed to like almost feature every instrument on the album and somehow not make it muddy. Like they all feel like they're out front, you know. And if you want to focus on the drums, they're there, man. You don't have to search for them. The bass, you don't have to search for it. It's prominent. That's a brilliant job mixing this album. So yeah, all the elements are there. This is One Last Time. So what you said, the emotional impact of this song really gets me, and those are the songs I always return to, is the emotional songs, the songs that elicit some kind of emotion. The piano intro is
oh my God,
so beautiful. This was Jordan Rudess's debut album with Dream Theater.
Exactly.
So he elevated.
I guess he can stay
band.
in the band.
Yeah, I mean, you know, talk about bringing in another world class Juilliard. I think this guy graduated from Juilliard at age 12 or something ridiculous. Like he is a prodigy on the keyboard, the piano.
I took a piano class. I kind of know I know where he's coming from.
So you can relate a little bit.
Yeah, sure. I can find middle C. You know?
So yeah, this song has a slow build. All the transitions feel really natural throughout. Everything flows well, one to the next. Nothing's really forced or jarring. Should mention Myung while we're at it. His bass work on this album, like John Myung, is kind of a guy that's often forgotten because he's just he's there doing his thing.
Background, isn't he?
He doesn't jump around on stage. His hair is hanging in front of his face, and he just plays. But my God, he's every bit the musician that any of these other guys are.
I know.
You know, he's just
it's like the Justice League,
elite,
the Avengers of bands. You know, they're all phenomenal in their own right.
Yeah, he's easy to take for granted, but my God, his bass playing is just. If you're a fan, if you have an ear for the bass guitar, this guy will give you orgasms all day long. So yeah, all that said, this was another kind of hard apples to oranges kind of choice here. An upbeat, up-tempo song versus a slow, melodic, sort of emotional track. So kind of depends on your mood. But that said, One Last Time is just so good, and it always grabs me. It always pulls me into it, and so that's I got to go with One Last Time here.
Is that what you said too, Chop?
Sure.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Well, we know the round goes to Scenes from Memory. I'll just say my vote was for Breaking the Silence. Although I agree with everything you guys have said.
I'm glad it got a vote because it deserves at least one vote out of it.
I mean, these are. One Last Time is a gorgeous song, and that piano intro, sometimes I'll just listen to that just on its own, because it is penultimate classical, beautiful piano. And it's a great song. Nothing, it's beautiful. But Breaking the Silence, to me, it feels a lot like Operation Mindcrime in its drive. It's got that same kind of bass line. It's very similar in echoes, Operation Mindcrime in a lot of ways. And there's a passion to it. And Tate's vocals are great. I mean, we all know. I'm just saying what we've already said, but there's just something to it. Breaking the Silence. I agree. Electric Requiem could be gone. It wouldn't bother me at all. But it's a filler track. But so this one was a hard one too. I mean, I had to oh God, they're so different, and they're so good for what they contribute to the album. You know, so. But so that one. So now we have what, a 4-3. We got Scenes from Memory.
Scenes
is a
from
4.
Memory just took a 1-round lead here.
Wow.
Okay, we are getting down to
Boy.
round 8,
The
which
nitty
is
gritty of 9 rounds.
yeah.
2 rounds left.
I don't believe in love versus The Spirit Carries On. These are 2 big songs. So round 8, Chop Top. What are your takes on these 2 gargantuan songs?
Well, the spirit carries on is beautiful in its own right. I don't believe in love. The melodic guitar intro, it's hooky. The chorus, absolutely adore. Absolutely believe in the song. So, but no, it's just a masterpiece. It's one of their standout stellar tracks. It's a trademark Queensryche song. And yeah, for me, it definitely it beats Spirit Carries On. So I don't believe in love. It's my vote.
All right.
All right. Okay. Marking it down in the
Marking that
scorecard.
down on the scorecard.
All right. And Dread, what about your take? I don't believe in love and The Spirit Carries On.
So yeah, everything I said about breaking the silence kind of insert here. To me, like breaking the silence and I don't believe in love are kind of twin songs on this album. They feel very similar in a lot of ways to
Yeah.
me.
Mhm.
I think even the videos were very similar, if I recall, back in the day on like MTV
Yeah.
and stuff.
Right.
But I love them
Black
both.
and white.
I
I
really
think it was
love
their-
these
yeah.
songs.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's the vocals, everything about them. Again, you might as well just say every song is phenomenal vocals, guitars, you name it. Spirit Carries On. For me, I think this is the most emotional song on the whole album. Maybe Through Her Eyes could make a case as well, but this one has, this song that it builds to this crescendo that builds into that first guitar solo in the middle of the song. And then you have that big finish with the chorus and the gospel singer. It's just so much goosebumps here. Like it is just it feels like a church gospel, moment,
Mhm.
like, oh, you just feel like, yes, you just want to raise your hands. Like it's so emotional. So,
Or put them
and
down, raise them down to the ground.
one of the two depends on what you're
Wherever
going
your
after.
God is, up there or down there.
So
That's why you're looking down in church. You're looking at God down there.
but okay, let's not get
Anyway,
distracted here.
yeah.
It's one thing Dream Theater are masterful at is building tension in a song and building up to a crescendo of some sort. They're so good at that. And yeah, and they do that here. They do an incredible job of it here. So the verdict here, again, both 2 incredible songs. I think for the emotional impact of Spirit Carries On gives this round to that song. It's why I listen to music. It's the emotional moments that sweep you up. It's why I love metal. And it doesn't even have to be good emotion or sadness. It could be anger and aggression, just whatever
The whole
moves you
spectrum.
emotionally. Yeah,
Yeah.
the
It's
metal,
palpable. You can feel
metal
it.
can do all that. And sometimes you want to cry, sometimes you want to beat your head against a wall, because it's just because that's what metal can do. And this is one of those tracks I think that takes me emotionally, and that's why I love metal. And so yeah, I'm gonna give it to Spirit Carries On.
Okay. So
Hey, Montag, I'm sorry, guys. You can cut this out. I need to take a quick restroom break. I'll be right back.
All right.
I apologize. So.
Coming down to the nitty gritty here.
I know.
It's going to be an interesting
So
finish.
Joe's was he had I Don't Believe in Love.
He took
right?
I Don't Believe in Love, and I took Spirit Carries On. So you are going to decide this round.
I'm gonna do a draw. No.
That you should just to see what he says.
Sorry, I'm not making a decision. I'm gonna pull a chop
I'm gonna
top
have to
here.
do it.
I'm pulling a chop top. This is all Patreon gold.
Oh man, good.
This is a good. I
has
love
been
the
a good fight.
Slugfest format.
Me too. This has been really fun.
Yeah,
I think really interesting.
Mm-hmm. I agree. This is and I like that all of us recognize we there are things that we particularly like that move us, but we all still recognize just the difficulty in trying to choose between some of these fantastic albums.
Yeah,
that's what makes it fun.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's like the agony of like, oh, I mean, going from Master Puppets to Rust in Peace. I'm like, gee, right off the bat, like, nope, we're not
That's
pulling
brutal.
punches. Yeah, I think our next Slugfest will be like that too. But
Okay.
I think I know how it's gonna end up. But I think
Okay.
it's still a worthy challenge, and I'm looking forward to spilling that at the end of the show.
I apologize, guys.
You wash
as
your
I'm getting
hands?
Older, yes, as I'm getting older, I find myself
You
I'm
know,
going pee a lot more than I used to.
Yeah,
Especially in the
that
last 2
happens.
weeks, I've been fine. I'm drinking a lot of water at work too and stuff. But
It's good for
yeah,
you.
I'm like, good God, like, do I have to go again? Like, I just
Yeah.
fucking went. So my apologies. But
No problem.
let's
No
go back.
problem. We made a lot. We made fun of
you.
you. It's all going on Patreon, baby.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I could. I heard it in the background as I come down the stairs. So,
Good.
Yeah, lots of good
much
roasts.
love.
Really
Yeah,
roasted the
much
shit out of you there.
much love.
That's right. That's right. It wouldn't be a show with all that love.
Uh-huh.
Right on. I'm feeling
Okay.
it.
So,
Good. All right. So it comes down to
Montags,
me
round 8.
to break the
Indeed, it
the
does.
tie. I'm going to pull a chop top here, and I'm going to go draw. So no, I'm just kidding. We wanted to fuck with you. We thought, yeah, let's do that.
He's
Let's fuck
smacking
with
his
chop
belly at
top.
you.
Let's see what he
Uh-huh.
says.
Yeah.
No, I agree with everything you guys said. The Spirit Carries On is a beautiful song. There's a lot of Pink Floyd in here, from the Great Big Gig in the Sky. There's a lot of that. I hear.
Good point.
This is totally Pink Floyd song for me. When you hear
You're
from
right.
Dark Side of the Moon, it's exactly this is their Pink Floyd moment. I Don't Believe in Love is a big, powerful song, and the chorus is great. It's just a huge one. So while both songs are good, the Pink Floydness of the song kind of loses me a little bit. It's almost like too identifiably Pink Floyd. Like, great song, but I'm going to go with Queensryche. I Don't Believe in Love. It gives this one. Yeah,
Holy crap.
I know. I think this brings us to a
Boys,
4-4 tie.
We
right?
have a tie going into the final round.
Oh man, this is a
We have a
slugfest.
4-4 tie.
Oh,
Holy
okay.
smokes.
Well,
Right.
round
Huh.
9, someone's going to win, unless we all pull
Woo.
a chop top. Someone's going to win here. We have round. We love you, Chop. Round 9, we got Waiting for 22, My Empty Room, and Eyes of a Stranger versus Finally Free. Round 9.
Woo-wee.
All right,
Doggies.
Chop. All right, Chop. Chop. This is round 9, man. What do you think?
What do you got?
God. Oh my God. Well, on Mindcrime, My Empty Room, Waiting for 22, and again, they could have went from I Don't Believe in Love to Eyes of a Stranger for me. There's 2 filler areas there. Yeah, I know they're trying to keep the story going, and they're putting these little snippets, this atmospheric, moody stuff throughout there. But you could have cut that out. To me, when I Don't Believe in Love, right to Eyes of a Stranger, yeah, you're cutting down the runtime, but also you're making it a little more cohesive. So, and I don't need to tell you how epic that song is. I mean, I think they've included that in their set ever since they released Mindcrime. It's just one of the crowd favorites, one of the fan favorites, and rightfully so. It's a fantastic, powerful song. However, with that being said, Finally Free and Dread. Before I'm going to preface this, Dread, I don't know if you saw that. I saw it on YouTube. I just watched it this week earlier. It was an old. They did an old live version of Finally Free, and it was at the Boston Opera House. And I'll tell you what, I had tears in my eyes on that. That's how emotionally that is a fantastic version. Might have been one of the first. Might have been one of the first they did when Mangini came in the scene.
Okay.
But it has like its strings is the orchestra down sitting in the bottom, and then it has a choir in the background behind them. And oh my gosh, and the powerful response from the audience and stuff. Again, both songs evoke a hell of an emotion in me, either way, any day, any given day. But man, Finally Free is just, man, way to sum up an album. I mean, of that magnitude and the emotional aspect for me. That's what, again, I know we talked about it somewhere. We always said the emotion draws us to it, or the musicianship side. But man, as much as I love Eyes of a Stranger, I'm going to Finally Free. That's my choice.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
All right. Well, okay, Dreadbull.
Oh,
Big
goodness
vote
gracious.
for you. Big vote for you.
Okay, so yeah. So Eyes of a Stranger. Here I disagree on the build up, on the sort of the build up tracks, the atmospheric stuff. I think here you go ahead and take a moment to build to like the grand finale. You know, you're building up to the big capstone. And I think this is the perfect capstone to a legendary album. This song is powerful, it's majestic, it's the cherry on top of this epic musical journey. Every member of the band just lets it all hang out here. I just love everything about this song. It's got power. Tate's vocals, you know, on the chorus are is one of the most memorable choruses of any song.
Yeah, first time you hear him sing "Looking Back at Me," he hits that great note. It's like,
Oh,
yeah,
that note, yeah.
it's so powerful, right?
Like hell yeah, you know, and it's yeah, it's the musical crescendo. Like the whole album builds to this moment, and it doesn't disappoint. Man, that said, another Finally Free, another great capstone to an epic concept album. Again, Dream Theater builds up to this great ending, both musically and lyrically, wrapping up this crazy story of love and betrayal, reincarnation, regression. This
With a
convoluted
twist,
story,
with this beautiful
with
twist.
a twist.
Yeah, I'm like,
And like Eyes of a Stranger, everybody is just giving everything they've got to the ending, to the grand finale of these albums. So yeah, while I love Finally Free as a finale track, I feel like Eyes of a Stranger delivers a more sustained and powerful finish for the concept album. I think the song is just, it sustains its power. Finally Free is progressive. You know, there are ebbs and flows though throughout, so the intensity lets down and builds back up, and that's fine. But I think as the capstone song for this journey, I like the sustained high energy of Eyes of a Stranger. And it's like it feels like, you know, when you've seen a great concert and you leave the venue and you're still like floating, you're on cloud nine, you feel like you're just filled with energy,
electricity around you.
Yeah. And this is what this feeling this gives me, Eyes of a Stranger gives me at the end of this album. So yeah, as tough as it as it was for me, I'm giving this to Eyes of a Stranger.
oh my goodness, it all comes down to me.
This is it. You decided.
A lot of pressure. Yes, both of you make great points. Both phenomenal songs, and the twist of the story and Scenes from Memory. It's like,
yeah,
it's like, oh fuck, okay, that's what a brilliant story is being told. But I agree with you, Dreadbull. It takes a while to get there, you know. And Eyes of a Stranger, I don't mind the build up either. They're not necessary songs, but in the context of this great album, I understand this kind of moment of quiet and solitude before this big punch in the face. Because Eyes of a Stranger, those last 2 minutes where it's like music, you hear, like we did an overture in the beginning of Scenes from Memory, hinting at future songs. We hear other songs being like speak and stuff in the end of Eyes of a Stranger. They're like going back into their catalog, you know, like you hearing these little riffs of like, oh, wait a minute, did I hear? That's awesome. Jeff Tate sounds amazingly powerful here. It's just his voice. It's just so big. And while I love the complexity of Finally Free, my vote and the winner of tonight's Slugfest goes to Queensryche.
Wow.
Eyes of a Stranger takes that round in a 5-4 decision.
Wow.
What a
battle. What a battle.
Yeah, hey.
Oh, yeah.
Gentlemen, this has been an amazing battle.
Yeah, this is
my personal votes came down the same. Came down to the final track, and I gave it to Queensryche, and yeah, so that's we differed a little bit, I think, going along, but no, actually, you know, I think we almost were exactly.
There were two that we had exactly right, and the two I think that was split.
But, yeah, I had a draw, so anybody hasn't heard Montag go off on me about it. Fucking draw.
Yeah,
but I think all things considered, I think as far as concept albums, I think Queensryche, I think they deserve it, man. I think Operation Mindcrime is legendary for a reason.
Here, you can't go wrong with either album.
No.
They're completely different listening experiences.
You know what, guys? As much I like concept album stuff, but this still stands the test. This is my favorite concept album of all time. Mindcrime. I mean, it
Mindcrime?
just
Yeah.
it stands the test of time. Like you said earlier, Dread, the content in it, the social commentary, everything that's going on with the world, it's that fresh as it was 35 years ago today.
Yeah.
So it really works. Yeah.
The lyrics are a lot more, I think, a lot more raw in a lot of places. The songs, I mean, the story
Definitely.
between
Yeah.
Sweet Sister, Miss Sister Mary, and the way
Definitely.
they talk about those things, it is raw emotion. You know, like One Last Time kind of has that too, or Beyond, or Through Her Eyes, still beautiful emotion, but there's a rawness and there's an energy and a palpable, like a sadness coming.
Well, and it's a call to revolution too, so
Yeah,
it's got to
right.
be energetic. It's got to be sort of angry. You know, it's
Yeah.
a different
And now
vibe,
we're-
and they capture it.
beautifully. And then the others one, we're like, we're going back in time. We're trying to figure this mystery out. So it makes sense that it would meander and wander as we're trying to make sense of things. You know, yeah, two different animals by a lot of things, but the fact that you were able to kind of line these up like this and give us this great Slugfest. I mean, but I knew it was going to come down to a split, like 5-4. It had to, because there's just these albums are just too good.
I think it's fitting. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And inevitably, you know, if you get into a conversation with a metalhead about greatest albums of all time, Mindcrime always comes up in that conversation. You know, it's just it's one of those albums. It's always part of that conversation. So,
yeah, and not a lot of metalheads will like Dream Theater. And I think because of the accessibility, it's like, I appreciate it as a musician and I love the prog stuff. We all love it. You know, that I love it. Opeth, the prog stuff.
It's not for everybody. Right?
But it's not, but it isn't, right?
Everybody doesn't get it.
Yeah. And the music in Mindcrime, as angry as it is, I think has a lot more radio playability. Not that that means anything, but I think it's a lot more people could access the music here than perhaps in Dream Theater. Like, you're never going to hear Home being played on the radio, you know?
No, absolutely. Yep.
And not only that, you know, Queensryche became even that much more accessible when they released Empire. So then you had more of the radio airplay, more radio friendly, and you heard all the hits from that
exactly.
album
Yeah, this album was the breakthrough for them. And for Scenes from a Memory was Dream Theater's 2112. You know?
Yeah.
Because that was there. They said, look, don't fuck with us. Let us do our thing.
That's when they threw down the gauntlet. Yeah.
Yeah. And it came out with arguably their best album they've ever made.
Yeah.
Right. And this is the one after that oh God, that one that wasn't very good at all.
Falling into Infinity.
Yeah, that's a
follow-up.
That's
to
lukewarm.
You said on a previous show, I believe you said that they said, fuck you, we're doing it our way. And they came back with one hell of a stellar comeback. And they
did
one of the best concept albums ever from prog metal.
Yeah, this was their gauntlet. They had gave the label an ultimatum and said, you know, they were so frustrated with the label messing with them when they made Falling into Infinity, and they're like, you either leave us alone or we're going to quit. We're just going to break up, you know. And the result was Scenes from a Memory. So
still,
thank God they did that. Honestly,
I think it's a fan favorite of Dream Theater fanatics out there. It still is to this day. Scenes from Memory.
I mean, there are albums where they play heavier. There are albums where they do just as melodic stuff, but there is something, and the recording of this album, I think for me, it is definitely the cleanest sounding album they do with everything is
great,
pristine. You know, whereas other albums, I think Empire is a much cleaner sounding, beautiful sounding record for Queensryche. I mean, it's lush, it's beautiful sounding record, especially when you hear songs like was it the Della Brown, or you know, just gorgeous. You can hear everything really beautiful, and that big chorus on the guitars, the flange, just beautiful stuff.
That bass sounds sharp.
Yeah, it's just a great sounding album. So, but yeah, this I was really excited about. I dreaded it. I really dreaded this, man. Like, oh my God, it's gonna be brutal, and it really was. But it's so great to hear everyone's takes on it. And I love this format, guys. I think this is just so much fun.
Yeah, I think this was an awesome treatment. I think we gave both albums their due. You know.
Yeah.
All right, who's up to hearing "No Stranger to Love" anymore? Okay.
Yeah. No stranger to love. Cue the fog machines.
Yeah. Cue.
Should we get some dancing chimps in here? Okay,
the
gentlemen.
best part of waking up.
That's right. Folgers in your cup. Magic. Here's what I propose for next Slugfest. Slugfest 4, which
Okay,
we will be doing
okay,
sometime in 2023.
All right.
Just listen, gentle readers. We're going to be taking a break here in a few weeks. We're just taking a break. We've been doing this for a year and a
A
half.
little holiday hiatus.
Yeah, a few months off. We're not coming back till February of 2023 with our first episodes. But we're just taking some time. But we are coming back.
We're
Gonna
not
do
leaving quite
our-
yet. We got a couple more shows to do.
Yeah, you'll be here for a few weeks, but we're going to take a nice little break. I'll be doing some things like best of, little snippets. But here's what I propose for Slugfest 4. We're going to do a little visit to our friend King Diamond. We listen to Abigail and Abigail 2.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yes.
All right.
Oh,
Man, I haven't listened
wow.
to Abigail in quite a
Yeah.
while. So
I was just listening to it
awesome.
the other day, yesterday.
Okay, great.
And yeah, these are both great albums.
Yeah.
Abigail 2, the first album that Matt Thompson played drums on, and then we have Mickey
Right.
D on the first Abigail. So I mean, yeah, just phenomenal. I think this
Abigail
will be
takes me back to the old Z-Rock days.
Z-Rock
man.
days.
Right.
Yeah.
Z-Rock
That's
played
what
a
I
lot
heard,
of
King,
Diamond
too.
back in the day.
Yeah. I think getting back into it, and if you haven't listened to Abigail 2 for a while, I think there's
I have
both
not.
of these albums have a lot of meat on them.
Awesome.
Your first
Okay.
blush, you're thinking, oh, Abigail's going to kick its ass. Like, you
Not so fast in some
gotta
things.
listen to them.
Fantastic.
I honestly thought this would go to Dream Theater because of you, Dread, the Slugfest 3. I thought
That's
for
what I
sure
thought
you're gonna be
too,
a lot
Brad.
more,
I
but
thought that would, yeah.
I think we all definitely did a genuinely is tried to be as neutral as possible for our own reasons. Our own criteria came to play, but hey, this is Slugfest, man. We
Hey,
haven't
it's
really
two
had
bands
any.
I dearly love. So
Exactly. That's
two albums
what's
I
so
dearly love.
agonizing and great about this concept.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Abigail and Abigail 2.
Oh yeah. Excuse me. Future note to myself, everybody, our viewers, listen to Montag. No fucking draws. So
No
we don't
draws.
have draws anymore.
You
I'm
gotta
doing
make
a-
a choice.
I'm
Gotta
doing-
make a choice.
I'm doing a
Apparently you
Slugfest.
can't-
Nothing
Yeah.
but draws.
Make a decision.
Yeah.
That's right.
Make a
Featuring
decision.
Chop Top. Nothing but draws on this one.
That's
baby.
right. Chop Top
Fuck.
Festival.
Some bitch. You
You
some
son
bitch.
of-
Some bitch.
Some bitch.
Well,
Oh,
gentlemen,
man.
I think we've had a good time. I'm looking forward to the next one. I guess we
Great
can do our
show, great
commercial
show.
and get out of here.
All right.
All right. Hey,
Do
you
it
can
up.
find Heavy Metal Horror on unsaneradio.com. Listen to full episodes or download to your device. You can find us on Facebook, Heavy Metal Horror Podcast. On Instagram, look for Montag Lewis, one word. Our YouTube page, if you're watching, that's probably where you're at. Heavy Metal Horror Podcast. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. And then we're now on Roku, Hotel Metal Jam. If you know someone who'd like our show, tell them about us. This has been Montag, Master of Illusion.
And Chop Top.
Dreadbull.
And you've been watching and listening to Heavy Metal Horror.
This is Doug Helvering, and you have been listening to Heavy Metal Horror, the best podcast that you've never heard before.